So, Apple just dropped the MacBook Neo. And on the surface, yeah, it's a new laptop. But if you scratch just beneath that surface, you'll see it's a signal of a much, much deeper strategy. This isn't just about a faster chip. This is about Apple reshaping the entire board. Let's break down what's really going on here.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. The folks who watch this stuff closely, they're not just calling this an upgrade. They're calling it a structural shift. That means Apple isn't just trying to sell a few more laptops. They are fundamentally changing the rules of the game for everybody else.
Okay, so what is the real play here?
Well, as we're about to see, it's a strategy built on total control and, let's be honest, maximizing profits. But it's also a much bigger, much more calculated move to dominate the next huge frontier in technology: artificial intelligence.
All right, so section 1. First things first, let's start with the basics. What exactly is the MacBook Neo?
Think of the MacBook Neo as Apple's big new play for the middle of the market. It's designed to sit right below the MacBook Air in the lineup. But here's the kicker. It's engineered to be so much better than your typical mid-range machine. Essentially, Apple is carving out a brand new category here, something like premium for everyone.
And just look at the ingredients that make this possible. You've got that next-gen Apple Silicon chip. That's the magic sauce driving everything. It's what allows for that sleek, fanless design, and crucially, it has dedicated cores just for AI. You combine that custom hardware with macOS, which is built to work perfectly with it, and boom, you get incredible performance. And the cherry on top, an aggressive price tag designed to pull a flood of new people into the Apple ecosystem.
So you might be wondering, how in the world is Apple able to pull all this off? Well, the secret lies in the engine under the hood, their very own custom-designed silicon.
You know, it's pretty easy to forget that just a few years ago, every single Mac ran on an Intel chip. The M1 in 2020 felt like a radical pivot. But the Neo, this marks a whole new chapter. Apple Silicon isn't just for the high-end pro machines anymore. It's becoming the standard, the default. And that gives Apple a massive advantage that its competitors just can't match.
And you can really see the strategic shift when you put these two eras side by side. Back in the Intel days, Apple was kind of at the mercy of another company's timeline and pricing. But now, with their own silicon, they control everything: the supply chain, the cost, and most importantly, the performance. This lets them hit a level of power and efficiency that was just impossible before.
So this control over the hardware, it's the foundation for their whole business strategy. And this, right here, is where the story gets really fascinating.
But you gotta ask yourself, why go to all the trouble? I mean, designing your own chips is a massive, incredibly expensive undertaking. So why do it? The answer is pretty simple. It's about building a competitive fortress, one that's nearly impossible for anyone else to get inside.
This is what analysts like to call Apple's vertical moat. Just think about it. They control the whole stack: the hardware, the software, the chip design, the stores you buy it in, and the entire app ecosystem. This complete end-to-end control gives them an insane advantage that a competitor who only makes, say, the software simply can't replicate.
Now, of course, the iPhone is the undisputed king of Apple's revenue. But the Mac is still a hugely important and very profitable part of the business. And the real goal with the Neo isn't just to sell more computers. It's to completely change the financial equation for the entire Mac lineup.
And for Wall Street, this is the real headline: margin expansion. By owning the chip, Apple slashes its own costs. And that means they can sell the MacBook Neo for less, reach way more people, and, get this, potentially make even more profit on every single one they sell.
So here's the playbook that Wall Street loves, and 5 easy steps. 1. You own the core technology. 2. You lower your costs. 3. You boost performance. That leads directly to step 4. You expand your profit margins. And the final result? Your stock value goes up. It's a virtuous cycle.
But all of this, the control, the margins, it's not just about today. It's all setting the stage for Apple's next big play. And that future is all about AI.
So while a lot of other companies are building AI that lives in the cloud, on their servers, Apple's betting on a completely different path: on-device AI. This means all the powerful computing happens right there, on your machine, and that has massive implications for your privacy and for speed.
And this really creates two fundamentally different strategies for the future of AI. Apple's is local, it's private by its very design, and it's incredibly fast because it doesn't need an internet connection. The competition? Their model is mostly cloud-based, which often means subscriptions and, Well, sending your data to their servers. So you see, Apple isn't trying to sell you an AI service, they're trying to sell you the AI machine itself.
And this is what reveals the true purpose of the MacBook Neo. Suddenly, it's not just a laptop, it's a delivery vehicle. You can even think of it as a mass-market Trojan horse, designed to get Apple's advanced on-device AI hardware into the hands of millions. It's all about building an AI-powered ecosystem that's incredibly difficult for anyone else to compete with.
So when you take a step back and put all these pieces together, you realize the MacBook Neo isn't just a new product. It's the culmination of a strategy that's been in the works for a decade.
So what is all this signaling? First, it tells us that Apple Silicon is finally all grown up. It's mature enough to power the mass market.
Next, it represents the democratization of advanced AI, putting these powerful neural engines into more hands than ever before.
It's also a masterclass in financial strategy, a way to optimize those profit margins and strengthen the entire company.
And ultimately, it all comes down to expanding their ecosystem, pulling millions more of us into their world, and making it harder and harder to ever leave. And that's really the final takeaway. Apple's power doesn't come from the hype or the flashy announcements. It comes from a quiet, methodical, and absolute control over its own destiny. This is how dominance isn't just won, it's compounded for years and years to come.